In this interview, you're going to hear how David Moerman went from coaching just a handful of one-on-one clients and barely being able to scrape 10K per month to now making 50,000 per month, and how he did that all in just about 1 year's time. So when I first met David, he was doing his one-on-one coaching. He was kind of frustrated because it was taking up a ton of his time. And we had a couple calls and I shared with him a couple different tweaks he could make in his business with his delivery model and his pricing. He went and implemented because he's a massive action taker. And I checked in with him not too long ago to see how things were going. And he messages me and says, dude, I'm making $50,000 per month. I was like, holy crap. I have to interview him and find out what happened, how he did this, how he's getting his leads, just so that I could share it with all of you guys, and maybe you could skip some of the steps that it kind of takes to figure out this coaching business. So I think you're really gonna love this video where David just pulls back the curtain and shares what he has learned about how to grow his coaching business. Now the production value isn't super high. Zoom won't let you record in HD for some reason, but the value and the content is there if you just listen up and take notes. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the interview. What's up, guys? Today I am excited. I have a gentleman on the line who I've known for quite some time. We've had some coaching conversations between the two of us, and he is just absolutely killing it in his pressure washing business, his coaching business. I messaged him on Facebook and said, please have a minute of your time to just share kind of what you're up to and what's working. So Mr. David Moerman, I hope I pronounced that right. How you doing, man?
You got it, brother. Happy to be spending some time with you and the listeners and give any value I can, man. I was telling you offline, I'm an open book. So, we'll have a fun conversation and hopefully the listener comes out with a takeaway or two.
Cool. Well, let's start with just a short rundown of what you do today.
Sure. So I am the owner of two businesses. One's called Revive Services. We provide exterior cleaning solutions to homeowners in the Lower Mainland here. I'm a crazy Canadian here just outside Vancouver. So that's my one business. I started in 2016. A little bit of a different spin on business because every dollar we take in of revenue, we donate 3% to sponsor water projects in Cambodia. Started as a charitable initiative from our first job. And now we're 6 years later, carried that right through. So kind of married up business with what I really care about, businesses being socially responsible and making the world a better place. Through the course of scaling that business, I had people reach out to me, Dave, how did you do this? How do you get jobs? How do you make a quote? How do you hire people? All the things that a lot of business owners tend to struggle with. And I've made every mistake in the book. I firmly believe it. I then started up this brand behind me, Home Service Business Coach. I started early in 2020, started just one-on-one coaching on Zoom. And Brian, that's where we connected early on in my startup of this consulting business. And now I have this online business, which consults home service business owners to structure, build systems, and really get free of the day-to-day operations that tend to hold them back. So we work with a lot of window cleaners, pressure washers, and painting contractors, landscapers. So we don't teach how to clean a window, how to paint a house. There's YouTube for that. We teach business systems, how to hire, how to market, how to sell, all the things that business owners tend to get hung up on. So professionally, that's me in kind of a two-part nutshell with the two businesses.
So awesome, man. There's so much I want to ask you, but let's focus on your coaching consulting business because that's what most of the listeners are going to be interested to hear how you grew that. Tell me about the early days of, deciding you want to be a coach and kind of what you were doing and what that was like.
Yeah, definitely. So it just started with a simple conversation on Instagram with my personal account at the time. I had a painting contractor friend of mine reach out to me. He said, hey, I saw how you grew a painting business. Could you help me? And we just started one-on-one over Zoom, $200 an hour for a 1 hour Zoom session. The one guy turned into two, into three, into four. What happened was 2 years ago, my Fridays were just filled with one-on-one coaching calls. And that's kind of, Brian, where we identified on because we're both introverted. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like you talk all day And then night, you just need an hour in the hot tub by yourself or get your nose in a book or something, right? So that was the early days where it started, was just one-on-one and just really a heart to help people. And I thought, hey, if I can make a few dollars at this at the same time, let's kind of see where this can go. And so that was the genesis of coaching, was just a one-on-one, no preparation, no materials, just like, I love this type of stuff, just turn on the camera and just try and bring value. So that's just how it started, was wanting to help people with my first painting contractor in Florida there.
That's awesome. And, some of the listeners here, even though we're going to go on to how you kind of took it to the next level, I'm sure some listeners are like, man, I would love to have the problem of having too many one-on-one clients,
Mhm.
So how do you think you kind of solved that problem in the early days? How are you able to have enough demand to get as many one-on-one clients as you wanted, basically?
Yeah, I think my like pet peeve is in the coaching space. I think a lot of business owners are better at marketing than they really are at fulfillment, where I actually try go flip the pyramid. And I think our fulfillment's actually so good that we can coach someone and move them from A to B over the course of a number of weeks. So I think the fulfillment was super good from the start. I just personally love coaching. Been doing the trade for a number of years, so kind of knew where I struggled. But, if we pivot it back to marketing, I think from the early days, I was just telling my story online and still do. I think you can teach literally anything online. There's a guy in my group, he's like a handstand coach, right? Teaches someone how to do a handstand. Another guy teaches to stop looking at pornography. There's like literally anything. If I wanted to show you how to twiddle a pen on my thumb, we could scale that up. Like, it's just, you gotta look internally what your struggle's been, because I think everyone brings their zone of genius to the world in some capacity, and for me it just happens to be in the home service industry because that's what I've done. So I wouldn't try reinventing the wheel with starting early. I would just figure, what have you done? Where do you have a little bit of expertise? And man, just stay one or two steps ahead of the person you're coaching. Like, I think full transparency through social is, don't try say you have it all figured out. I think when you can relate and be a real person. So I'd say just like be authentic and share your story. And it's not like every post is a call to action. It's probably every third or fifth post is like, hey, if you want to learn more about how we can help you with this, send me a message. So it was just boots on the ground, organic, Brian. I'm actually turning on Facebook paid ads in 2 weeks from now. But everything's just been organic, one relationship at a time.
I love that, man. And another thing I think that you have going from you, from my perspective, is that you just walk your talk. And you have a large business that does lots of revenue, and you have a team, and you're literally running a home service based business on your own, not just teaching how to do it. So you have that
Yeah.
legitimacy too.
I think that helps too. Yeah. And again, I think if the business was half the size too, I think it would still be fine. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
just, again, for listener, like, figure out what your zone of genius is and look to teach that. And I think too, if you're in it for the money, I think that'll show like pretty quick. So like, my mentors always told me, like, chase the quality, which in coaching I think is the fulfillment, and then the money will take care of itself. And I think we don't talk about like a net promoter score enough, right? Like, how referable is your business? How happy are the members of your program? I think that's like really important. Like, if someone throws down a $3,000 payment, that's just the start of the journey. It's now we've got to make sure we go earn that in results for the client. So very important as well.
Mm. Yeah, I actually read a statistic somewhere the other day that surprised me. It said that like word of mouth or referral is one of the main ways that people purchase things. It's like, hey, I need someone to cut my grass. You ask your neighbor, you know anybody, and you
Yeah.
just use your neighbor's guy, because I guess working for him. And really, when you get on Yelp and you're probably picking the company with the most reviews. Those
Yeah.
reviews are essentially word of mouth or referral, just on a public basis.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. So you had a full calendar of one-on-one. You had a good problem to have, but you didn't really want that. It's not like you were doing it just for money, right? You wanted to, give back, but also have a lifestyle. And I know we had a couple of conversations around that time about how you could sort of break out of that. So take me to that moment, when we chatted the first time or two, and what were some of like maybe the epiphanies or insights you had at that time?
Yeah, man, you really turned me on to like the group coaching model, but not like let's just stuff everyone in one group and forget about it. I remember you told me, Dave, maybe look at hosting like a monthly or every 2 weeks office hours, which is just me hanging out on Zoom. And I posted in our Slack channel, like tomorrow we have one. I was away on a vacation with my wife and I want to get back in touch with the members. And I don't ever want them to think there's a barrier they can't get coaching from me. So tomorrow is going to be hour and a half, whatever. Guys, here's a Zoom link. Come on with your questions. I don't have prepared material, but let's wrestle through some of these problems, because to your question of like, why did we move from one-on-one to more of a group component with one-to-one, is because every call I was doing 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in the morning, I would repeat so much of the same information that I'm just like, I'm running myself into the ground. And there's an illusion in coaching, I think, that it needs to be one-to-one, where I think there's so much beauty in the group with a backdoor for one-to-one when there's something maybe more sensitive to talk about, something in the personal life, whatnot. Absolutely, let's get on a one-to-one. But if we're talking marketing, sales, fulfillment, lead gen, technology stack, like that stuff, all relevant to the group, which I think you're kind of doing your other clients a disservice if you just kind of keep it for one-to-one. Like imagine if Brian didn't turn on record right now and it's just us. It's like, man, let's open this up, get more people involved here. So that's kind of where it pivoted. Brian, you taught me more, and some others in the space too, like look at more of a high ticket coaching model. Don't just sell an hour for $200, not scalable. You're going to kill yourself. How do we make this thing like a $3,000 program and just max it out with value? So that was kind of the time when our paths kind of crossed. Very pivotal that I was only doing one-to-one coaching for maybe 3 or 4 months, enough to see like, I don't know how long I can keep this going.
I love that, man. It sounds like you've really cracked the code on the guru model, even the masterminds and things I've been in where, they're doing $1 million or $2 million per month of high ticket clients. It's like that, it's a group coaching program plus a course, but then they also leave that one-on-one element in there as well. It's something I've noticed is that a lot of them are bringing that back and saying, hey, just group is not great too. We need to have some option where people can talk to somebody by themselves. So talk a little bit about why you decided to, leave the one-on-one element in your coaching business.
Yeah, like I think it shouldn't be all one or the other. Like I think the hybrid is kind of the sweet spot, and it's kind of like in life, I think the truth's kind of in the middle a lot of times. And so I think you go one-to-one, I actually think the coach can be at risk for burnout or also like scalability. Like it's my mission to help 1,000 home service entrepreneurs over the next decade scale and structure their business. For me to go one by one, I'm going to be 82 years old and still miss my goal. Now there's group that you get a lot of people group who are like high level entrepreneurs, like let's just stuff the group. But then I think sometimes you miss it on the fulfillment. So I think kind of dragging it, wrestling it in the middle. I would rather have a business doing 50K a month, really strong fulfillment, than do 150 and have people leave the program like, that was kind of crappy. So I think long term, if you're scaling, like fulfillment is just so important. And, read the book Raving Fans. It's like, how do you keep clients for the long term? And that's something we've really focused in my brick and mortar business, Revive, is how do we keep people coming time after time after time? That's, I think, really where you win on the back end if your fulfillment's good. So for me, right now, point in time, the sweet spot's in the middle with that hybrid model is working really well for us. In 2 or 3 years from now, maybe it pivots one way or the other. Tough to say, but right now the hybrid seems to be resonating with our avatar.
I love that, man. I've never heard anybody put it that way, where it's like, if I want to serve 1,000 people as my mission, I can't do it one-on-one. I have to do it in a group. That's great justification for it. And then the fact that you're kind of almost, you would rather cap your, monthly revenue at 50 grand, which I don't know what your price is, but let's say it's 10 grand a person. So you're taking on like 5 people a month, and you're making sure, okay, all these people are having their minds blown by my program before you allow more people in. It's like, not only is that good just because it's the right thing to do, but in all the marketing books, they talk about how scarcity is a big thing. So if you're sitting there saying, no, we can't take on any more clients this month, there's a waiting list because we're too busy making sure the ones we already have are getting amazing results. Those people are going to be like, I missed my shot. Maybe I can get in next month. Not that you care so much about that. You seem to be a heart-driven entrepreneur who's mission driven, which is cool. But I just think that's just going to help you grow faster than you might even want to. So I love it.
Yeah, no, man, the scarcity is kind of like the nightclub you wanted to get into when you're 22 years old, right? And there's a VIP line and everyone else has to wait in the general. But once you get in, it just holds that bar. Like humans almost want more what we can't have, right? And so I think it's a really good point there. But yeah, like to wrap it up, like the whole one-on-one to group, I think most people should probably start with one-on-one and just get your first client results. And it's actually a super cool story. My first washing client I had, he's now a coach inside my program, helping mentor and support other members. So I do think if you're looking to scale, I think long term, your best clients could also become call them our internal clients, right? Your employees or your subcontractors, they can come inside the family and help pay it forward to the next people as well. So I think just be aware of that, because I thought, how am I going to get a team? How could I teach someone these expertise? It's like have someone come through your program, make sure they're a good core values fit, and you can start to, create your own family internally. It's kind of a cool thought to think about scaling that way.
That's so cool, man. So, and where are you today? Tell me about your coaching business today. Like, how many clients do you work with? You have a team? What are you doing for marketing? Just like a quick overview of that, and we'll wrap up.
Yeah, man. Bird's eye view. We're a small team of 5 right now. So we've got 2 on the marketing. They're called appointment setters, at least in this space I've learned. So Instagram and Facebook helping me manage conversations. I have a growth advisor on about half time right now, Landon. He's taking assessment calls. So whoever the setters set up for calls, Landon will actually be the first point of contact. And Landon was actually a sales guy already for me at my other business, coached the guy in soccer 6 years ago at our high school. So, very great representation of me and my core values, knows me very well. And so he's heading up the assessment calls because, again, I think I mentioned it, introvert energy. I want to keep my time reserved for the private clients and not be on assessment calls all day. Landon, extroverted, could talk 12 hours a day. It fills him up. So he's doing that. Internally, I'm still in the head coaching role in the program with 2 support coaches on board as well. And so 2 support coaches helping run small groups as well internally. So really my role is coming on teaching every week, today on Thursday, leading my 2 small groups on Tuesday, and then just creating content as the program keeps growing and evolving. So it's kind of a great small family right now inside the program, and hoping we can keep growing from where we are. But it's just been a ton of fun, and can't encourage the listeners enough. Like, just dream big, but just start small. And I really think it just starts with that first client and getting results. And one thing I'm proud of too is on probably 80% of our clients, we get a solid testimonial. Not everyone wants to leave one for privacy reasons, but we'll ask for a video and a written testimonial. And if you can get that on 8 out of 10 of your clients, it just creates this feedback loop to keep growing. So man, been tons of fun. I feel like I've listened to all your YouTube podcasts. There's just so much to learn, I think, in this space too, which has helped tremendously.
That's so cool, man. And I was going to give you my raving endorsement, but I honestly don't need to, because you have all these people who have actually gone through your program, home service professionals who are leaving you great testimonials. But if you're someone out there and you have a home service based business, you want to scale or systemize or learn how to treat it like a business, I can't recommend anyone better than you, David. And if there is somebody listening who's like that, where should they go to get more from you?
Yeah, I'd say just the website, homeservicebusinesscoach.com, or Home Service Business Coach on Instagram is more me personally. Me and my wife showing trips with our dog, and it's kind of a nice mix of personal to business. So yeah, both those spots would be great to come catch up with me. And I'm always happy to have a chit chat and kind of help. I feel like I'm kind of in two worlds of like the home service space and then also like the online space, both very fascinating. And I couldn't think of a better time, Brian, for your listeners to look seriously at jumping in and starting a coaching gig. And one thing I will say too is like, I think the other question people wrestle with, and I did a lot, was like, when do you actually jump into this space full time? And I think just like keep it as a side hustle until it starts getting steam. You listen to Damon John, right? The Shark Tank. He worked at Red Lobster for 6 years as a server while he was creating his billion-dollar brand Fubu. And it's just like, that's very powerful, I think, when you can have proof of concept, hustle something part-time and get it going. So for me, it was keeping Revive still running, and it's still going today. But that was still like my 9 to 5. And then I would just do 1 day a week where I'd just devote it to the coaching, and then 2 days, and then it grew. So I think just be conscious of your time and learn as much as you can, but there's no shame in starting this thing as a part-time side hustle and see where it can go from there.
I love that advice, man. Because when you start it as a side hustle and it's not like this has to make me money starting next week, then you can build it slowly, authentically, with quality. And it becomes this thing where you're just like, trying to squeeze money out of it on week 2. So you've just had such a cool journey in how you've accomplished all this. And I just have a feeling you're going to go really far. And you're a busy guy. So thank you so much for taking your time to tell us about what you do today. I'm going to put all your links in the description so people can reach out to you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. And big thanks to you. I remember our first time we chatted, you're like, man, you're going to do really well with this. And you were just like a really great encouragement to me. So that's kind of why I wanted to come back here and just say thank you. And to your listeners, like, listen to as much stuff Brian has, because he knows what he's talking about. And I think, I'm glad my path crossed you in just the first few months, because it was kind of my catalyst to push me on in this space. So big thanks to you, man. Appreciate it.
You got it, man. I appreciate that. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Thank you guys so much for watching this interview. I hope it helped you a lot. And if you want more help growing your coaching business, I wrote this book called Nail Your Niche on how to grow a 6-figure coaching business. Everything I've learned about making multiple 6 figures as an online coach is in this book. And I've also made a couple of videos here and here about how to choose your niche and how to choose your ideal coaching client. Check those out. They're going to help you a ton. And thank you so much for watching.